past made a lot impact. Past painful scars, in fact I blast tasteful laws and past. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya, and where he currently is. At the age of 19 years old, he is at Island. Him and Melissa do seem to have gotten closer in our last part. And we do have our third Deku, who is currently on an assignment to take down the third thing, or the alien. Now, he is currently on that assignment, and he is working hard in order to complete his objective. As we do pick up with our first Midoriya, the one that has been with Melissa and Mr. Shield, as all of them are sitting around a coffee table in the morning, on the island, whenever a man with yellow hair does come walking up and does sit down, introducing himself as Toshinori. Melissa saying hi to Uncle All Might. You're All Might? Yes, I am, young man. However, it is nice to meet you. All Might holding out his hand, Midoriya shaking it and introducing himself as Izuku Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya. Ah, I believe I've talked with somebody about you before. You wouldn't happen to be friends with Bakugo Katsuki, would you? You know Kachan? Wow. Well, yes, I do. I was the combat instructor at UA for a short period of time. Those were better days. I see. Well, I did want to talk with you, Mr. All Might. I'm Midoriya explaining all of it. All Might being weirded out by it and confused. He doesn't believe all this until David does at least confirm that with the research they have been doing, it's all true. And that he would like it if All Might uses his time to help Izuku and figure all of this out. Now, All Might does agree. And Midoriya, he does explain to All Might what his current plan is. His plan is to infect Overhaul, All for One, and the Doctor. Now, Midoriya would tell All Might that if he does affect these people, or infect them, he can keep an eye on them, and monitor what they are doing. Now, All Might is curious about all of this. Midoriya explaining to him that pro heroes would just need to help him, and that if they are able to cause a distraction for the villains, then he can do his job. All Might confused. Midoriya explained to him that if the number one hero Endeavor and Hawks are able to help, they can draw All for One out of hiding. Now, All Might would go on and explain that that would not work, and that their better bet would be to him actually looking at David and Melissa, saying to draw out his successor. This confusing the three. All Might revealing the, quirk, one for all, to these three. Melissa surprised, Deku alarmed by this, and David interested. So that's why Toshinori has been losing power. He passed on his quirk. Interesting. And who did you pass your quirk on to? that's complicated. However, at the certain point, or current point right now, I will not discuss that with you. I will tell my successor about this, and once they make their appearance, they can draw out All for One. Afterwards, young man, you can do your task. Now, with that being said, All Might would give Midoriya the phone number for Sir Night-Eye, and Midoriya would call him after All Might does leave. Night-Eye picking up the phone and actually talking with Izuku, learning the entire details of the plan, as he's interested in what Midoriya might be doing, looking into the future and asking Izuku if he does plan to kill people. Midoriya telling him yes he does. He intends to make Overhaul pay for what he has done to that girl. Night-Eye, well, confused by this as well. Girl? What girl? Their investigations never brought up a girl. Investigation? Yes. We were investigating Overhaul, Chizaki as you call him, and we were curious to know who he was and what he was doing. However, our investigation was quickly dropped after circumstantial evidence was not found. So, you were telling me that you have an in with this organization. You might explain to me what some of the things they're researching are? Sure. He wants to erase people's quirks. I know he's already got this stuff off the ground. And well, if I can get my hands on it myself, I could do a lot of damage to him. So that's my plan. Get my hands on his supply and shoot him with them. Afterwards, I want to move on to All for One. And, young man, what are you getting out of all this? I'm going to absorb them. Gain their knowledge. And fix myself. Hopefully afterwards I'm able to remain myself. Now, with that being said, the plan is somewhat put into place. And, well, 2 weeks later, after the planning and everything, the plan is put into motion. Overhaul's base is being invaded by a force of heroes. Everybody quickly going on the defensive as Overhaul does inform Midoriya to go get Eri, and that they need to escape with her. Now, Midoriya does somewhat listen to Overhaul, as he would run out of the current lab room that they're in. And he does run in the direction that Eri is located. However, he does stop by a hole in the wall, and he does have his right arm move outwards from his body, turning into a creature. Midoriya turning to it and ordering it to go find the cork-destroying bullets. He knows that they're in him listing off a supply room. That does at least have a cold storage unit. Now, the arm does quickly start moving, and making its way throughout the base, as Midoriya does run into Eri's room. And he does actually pick her up, telling her that they have to go. Mr. Izuku, where are we going? Listen, that's not your concern right now. Right now, we're trying to get out of here. The heroes are here. The heroes? Oh no, Mr. Overhaul. Don't worry, Eri. I have a plan. Just trust me, okay? Now, with that being said, Overhaul, he's currently heading to the same area that some of his men are. Hearing about pro-heroes trying to get into the base. They have a large roster. 5 of the top 10 members are here. And that's insane. Especially because Mount Lady, she did actually go stomping down and smashing a hole straight through the ceiling. Right where Deku and Overhaul's fight in canon did occur. And multiple pros and police officers are pouring in. Now, he actually does absorb Rappa and begin the fight, taking out multiple pro heroes and police officers in an instant, along with actually tearing Mount Lady apart and using her own biomass to make himself larger. The beast double in size, or almost quadruple, as he is currently rampaging around and smashing through multiple people, ordering his men to retreat, and that the Yakuza will still live on. Now, pro heroes are fighting off against him, and they are actually destroying quite a lot of the flesh Overhaul is using. As we do have Izuku, who does actually just jump out of the hole that Mount Lady did create. As soon as he does have Eri around his back. He did actually create certain things to go over Eri's arms, so as to prevent her from slipping. Now, with that being said, he also does at least have layers of bone wrapped around Eri, so as to prevent her from falling as well. Pro Hero's looking at Midoriya and seeing him. He looks like a tall, slender monster. His face, monstrous. His body, well, covered in sharp armor. And then he does at least hold a case in his left hand, as he also does at least have a tail and sharpened teeth. Now, police officers do actually point their guns at Izuku and tell him to put his hands in the air, as somebody does actually come walking forwards, them grabbing the gun from a police officer and telling them to put their firearms down. This is their man on the inside. Now, Overhaul does look at Midoriya, and tell him that it took him long enough, didn't it? Right now I'm in two places at once. So if you want to talk to me about long enough, how about you try doing what I'm doing? Understandable. Now, I don't believe that the shot would get enough force, or at least work, if we just inject it directly into that giant beast. We have to hit the main body. Alright. I'll handle that. Midoriya actually setting Eri back down. As he does actually get down on one knee and put a hand on her shoulder, telling her that right now he has to go play a pro hero, okay? Her nodding her head and saying to come back alive. Midoriya giving her a hug before he does at least his turn. Then watching as Midoriya does actually go onto his hands and knees, as ginormous wings sprout out of his back. The police officers horrified by watching that, and Sir Night-Eye almost impressed. Disturbing, useful, and powerful. Quite a combination. Him holding up the gun as a tendril just comes out of Midoriya and grabs it, as one hand does actually form out of nowhere. It, with a case, as it does actually load the magazine full of the cork-destroying bullets. Now, with that being said, Midoriya does also do one thing. He gives the rest of the case to Night-Eye, telling him to hold on to these, and that there are more in the cold storage downstairs, along with the raw ingredients. Now, Midoriya does take flight, and get up high into the air, as we actually do have a few pro heroes that Midoriya does seem to recognize. There is a pro hero on a giant, creation of acid, as she is throwing around large globs of it, along with a sound hero, and, an explosion hero. The explosion hero flying in at high speeds, and actually using a howitzer impact and blasting away quite a large bit of flesh. Midoriya flying straight past him. The guy looking and recognizing that face, as he actually is almost swatted away and sent flying. Bakugo flying backwards as he actually does go to try and get back into a proper flying position. Now, Bakugo, he does just grab onto a building whenever he smashes into it, and bring his finger up to his ear. Did anyone else just see that thing? What? What does he mean? The giant beast that flew past me. Yeah, I saw it. Isn't it on our side? I don't know. But I think I know who that is. Hmm? Bakugo, who is that? Don't worry about it. Now, Midoriya is flying around and trying to find Overhaul, as he actually does fly up towards the beast's face and fly straight into the nose. Now, the moment Midoriya does actually do that, he does try and look around. And he actually does find a hole that he does lead down that goes into the mouth. Finding Overhaul just standing there on where the tongue should be, as his hands are implanted into the beast as well, as he's just throwing around large fist. And he does actually look up at Midoriya. What are you doing here? Listen, I know you need my help. You should just take an area and run. We can meet back up with you. I still need to do research on you. I know, Midoriya says, as he does actually go upright. And the hand that he has created behind his back with the gun is ready. Midoriya walking forwards and walking around Overhaul. Well, walking behind Overhaul, telling him that he has a plan to take down All For One, and to take on the heroes. Yes. However, the plan, it has some gaps. But there are things that have more gaps than them. Midoriya turning around and holding out the gun, saying that his research on my DNA. You aren't trying to cure me, are you? Yes, you're just using me as a baseline understanding of human biology. And with that, you're trying to make sure you can actually permanently destroy quarks. Nothing down the bloodline, is that right? My, it does seem that you are perceptive. So, I'm going to turn around, Roya pulling the trigger, as Overhaul is shot in the back. As he's confused, before he just starts screaming. The beast beginning to fall apart as Midoriya just does run up behind him and grab him by the back of his neck. The moment he does, he rips Overhaul into two, as he does go flying through its mouth. Pro heroes watching as the beast does fall and get destroyed. Midoriya absorbing Overhaul and actually learning what he does know. Now, with that being said, he is a bit closer to understanding things. And Overhaul's data and research does seem to have gotten farther than Mr. Shield's. Okay. So that's how I would do that. Now, let's see about the doctor. Midoriya, as we'll cut over to Island, or at least somewhere else with other pro heroes, where we do have Izuku, who is talking to and, well, interested in what is going to happen. Midoriya knows where the villains are going to be meeting, and he is actually at the villains' bar, talking with a few of the villains here. Now, as he's sitting down, he is actually waiting for the doctor. A blonde girl walking up and trying to talk with him, wanting to understand his strange quirk. Midoriya simply just at least waving her off a little bit, as we also do have Dabi, Shigaraki, and Kirigiri. All of them just standing there. As the doctor does eventually walk in and sit down in front of Midoriya, telling him that they can at least try and begin treatment now. Now? Yes. However, I did have a request. What I'm going to be doing to you is going to be quite weird. It's going to require a lot of genetic alteration, Are you prepared for this? Yes, Doctor. Okay. Well now. Him going on to state that this is going to be quite challenging, and Midoriya is going to be put into a test tube. He understands this, yes? To which Midoriya does nod his head. Now, with that being said, the doctor does lead Midoriya somewhere. And after the doctor has led Midoriya to a place away from the bar, he actually does hear something happen. Midoriya hears heroes break in. As soon as it does actually happen, Midoriya grabs the doctor and tells him that they need to leave here now. As pro heroes are taking down the bar, or people within the bar, the doctor is confused as to how they were found out. As he uses his little Nomu project to teleport both of them away. Now, with that out of the way, Midoriya is taken to the underground Nomu lab, where both of them are standing there. The doctor explained that they can be safe here for now, and that Midoriya, he does just need to listen to everything. As he leads Midoriya to an open tube where he is given a mask, talking about how this evolution will help him a lot. Now, Midoriya does somewhat listen, putting on the mask and stepping within the tube, as it is filled with liquid. Now, with that out of the way, Midoriya too. He is actually flying around the city and heading for the villain's bar, as he does change courses a little bit. As we do have Endeavor, him arresting his son along with the other villains, all for one beginning to, at least, enact a bit of a plan. Since the successor has been revealed, Mirio broke into the bar as well. And this was whenever Mirio was transported to a different location. And a large boom could be heard on the other side of the city. Now, Midoriya starts making his way that way, as he does still have the Quirk gun, or the Quirk destroying bullet gun. Now, he is ready. As he does eventually arrive there later, Mirio is still fighting. And he actually is using a quirk. That is different. Him at least using Black Whip and Float. Now, along with that, he does at least show an aversion to trying to use his own permeation, since he is still trying to remaster his very own Born quirk. Now, eventually Midoriya does actually arrive, and All For One does see him, instructing him that if he is to help him here, then they will do great things. Midoriya actually going to walk up next to All For One, and agreeing with him. All For One actually smiling a bit, telling the successor that his days are before Midoriya does actually stab him with a bullet himself. All For One actually going to grab away at his neck as he does fall over. And he does actually begin to somewhat age a little bit, showing off that he's older than everyone first thought. Asking Midoriya exactly what the hell did he just do. Midoriya turning to face off against All For One, telling him that he's making his own plan, and that him and the doctor are trying to trick him, aren't they? You're all villains. Him picking up the doctor and holding him up in the air, talking about how that's all he'll ever be. Mirio and the world watching as this creature absorbs All For One, the mask falling onto the ground as it does fly away. Now, with that being said, the doctor is trying to get Midoriya at least put into place and call All For One. However, there is no answer at the villain's bar, so he tries All For One's direct line, and there was no answer. Until Midoriya himself comes flying into the mountain. Now, the doctor is alarmed by Midoriya suddenly breaking in, since he just put Midoriya in a tube. Now, with that being said, this would be whenever he does actually watch Midoriya slowly morph back into an upright position, as he does still have his armor covering his body. The doctor turning around and assuming that this means something has gone wrong, and that the boy is here after him. Now, with that being said, he does turn and run, right into the other Midoriya's hand. This Midoriya with the face mask on and the remnants of his clothing still remaining. Him with the doctor up in the air in front of him, telling the doctor that he is aware of their little scheme, and how that the doctor has been using him. With all the scientists and people in his head, along with the security tacticians, it was obvious, and that he is going to end this here and now, as he assimilates the doctor. Now, after that does actually happen, he does take a seat, and try to go over all the knowledge, all for one overhaul on the doctor. Now, in total, the doctor is probably, over 100 years old, 150 years old. All for one is over 200, and overhaul, I think he was in his 30s. That's almost 400 years of knowledge. It would take Midoriya a second to go through it. He needs to just sit down and understand everything. Now, that is what these two do. As somebody, they do show up to this base, watching as these two who are sitting down are just talking with one another. Now, with that being said, let us say that this is actually a pro hero, or Endeavor, him being confused, as they're walking through the facility and do see these two, asking about exactly what happened here. Oh, Mr. Endeavor. Well, that's quite simple, the other Midori does say. Both of them going over about how they just took down All for One, Overhaul, and a doctor, and they are about to use their newly acquired knowledge to try and fix themselves. Endeavor not believing any of this, and simply telling Midori that he is under arrest. Now, Midori is taken into custody, and he doesn't really fight. He understands that Sir Night can help clear this all up. So, his best option is to just play along with the pro heroes. For now. Anyways, now I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.